Hey everyone. So I don't normally record on a cleaning day. That's why I'm dressed like this because I'm busy. But there's something that's been on my mind, and I thought I need to go ahead and just spit it out while the moment's hot. So recently I got really tickled with a news piece I saw on TV about a 3-year-old little boy from Colorado named Bridger Peabody. If you did not see this, you need to Google him because he's quite the amazing little man. The interview will probably tickle you too because he's a 3-year-old and he tells everything in his own terms, in his own way. It was so cute. But anyways, the reason why Bridger was in the news was because he saved his great grandmother. They call her Gigi. What happened to Gigi was the whole family was at the hospital for an older sibling of Bridger. And she decided to bring him back to the house ahead of everybody else and care for him until they all got home. Well, Gigi uses a walker for mobility. And when they were going to the back of the house to enter, she doesn't know if the walker got stuck on something or if she tripped. But she wound up having a very nasty fall and smacked her head against some stone steps. Gigi was bleeding profusely and she noticed a light on in a neighbor's house. So she started calling for help, but the neighbors couldn't hear her. So she remembered she had her cell phone in her car and she asked Bridger to please go get her cell phone so they could call 911 for help. Bridger goes out and then comes right back because he's 3. It's dark. He's scared. Gigi tells him she needs him to be brave and that Jesus will help him. She needs that cell phone. So this is what tickled me so much. They have home security cameras around, and the footage show Bridger with a little blanket wrapped tightly around his shoulders, and he's holding it tightly, and he's shuffling out onto the driveway very slowly. Because remember, he's 3. It's really dark outside. He's scared. As scared as that little man was, he kept telling himself over and over again, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Even though he was obviously very afraid. You could see it in his body language, the way he was walking, the way he was tentatively approaching the car, because he had no one else there at the time. Gigi said he had Jesus who will help him, but there was no parent or anybody else to guide him through the process, to give him that self talk. How did he know to do it for himself? I don't know. But he knew someone was relying on him, and this was a medical emergency. At 3 years old, he was doing it. He got out there. He eventually got the cell phone, and he's triumphant because he conquered his fears. Ever since seeing that on the news, I have been thinking about it nonstop because I'm like, what a wonderful lesson for everybody who has a fear that they need to conquer. Everybody needs to be a bridger. Because listen, so many times we allow fear to stop us completely from doing what we need to do to get to where we want to be. We have a lack of confidence. We have a lack of courage. We have a fear of failure, a fear of success, the fear of perfectionism. I talk about perfectionism all the time, but let me tell you, that is the death to any project, hope, dream, or goal. Because nothing's ever going to be good enough. It's never going to be perfect. And so that's our excuse to never do it. Perhaps what we need to do is look at what Bridger did. He created a shield for himself. So it could be metaphorical for us or physical, like a little blanket of comfort. He wrapped himself up in that because that was going to bring him some comfort other than being vulnerable and exposed out to the darkness. He somehow had the insight and the intuition to talk himself into doing this by telling himself, don't be afraid. He didn't say, I'm not afraid, because of course he was afraid. He's 3. He doesn't like the dark. But it was as if he had a voice to tell him, don't be afraid. So many times we talk ourselves out of things. Oh gosh, I have done this a billion times over. I'll come up with the funkiest excuses of why I shouldn't do something that make no sense whatsoever, but hey, it's good enough for that moment to not do it. But maybe what we need to do is talk ourselves into it. The other way we can create a shield for ourselves is to create an alter ego. I have read about actors and actresses who do this, who are very shy naturally as people, who are very introverted, but they create an alter ego that allows them to go out on stage, go out in front of cameras, and do the thing that they are passionate about. And then they can go be themselves after. How many of you remember the movie Fried Green Tomatoes? Wonderful movie. Kathy Bates plays a character named Evelyn Couch. Now, Evelyn is a doormat. Nobody listens to what Evelyn has to say. No one cares about what she has to say. No one cares about her feelings. She has no voice in anything. But she is taught by listening to someone else's story to create this alter ego named Towanda. Now, Evelyn can't do nothing, right? Towanda, she can do anything she wants and to hell with anybody. And she does it with gusto. If you haven't seen the movie, you have to watch it. But perhaps that's what we need. And I'll tell you what, when I was a police officer in the Air Force, my uniform was kind of like that. And a lot of you may know what I'm talking about, people who are in service to others, a police officer, firefighter, a nurse, a doctor, where you put on the uniform. And even though you have the training and you have hopefully the confidence to do what you need to do, that uniform just takes everything to a whole different level. And now you're in your role and you're ready to go. And that's what I think we all should do. So find your shield. Find what brings you comfort to allow you to continue to shuffle out onto the driveway into the dark. Instead of talking yourself out of things, talk yourself into it. Even if it's as simple as don't be afraid. Because listen, you're going to be afraid. You're going to have the physical effects of being afraid. Your hands may shake, your stomach may churn, your head may swim. You might go into fight or flight. And then what we can do is find our alter ego. Dig in deep, guys, and find your inner Towanda. So that's all I have to say today. Love you guys. Bye.